Guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a video which has been quite requested actually, and it's how I got into the nursing degree. So I'm going to talk a bit about how I got into it and other ways you can get on to the degree. So we are just going to jump straight to it and talk about GCSEs. So you're going to want to have 4 GCSEs, including English, Maths and Science at C grade or above, and that's now grade 4 I think, with the new grading system that they've put in place. So after GCSEs you're going to go to college, and then there are 2 pathways that you can go in with college. So you've got your standard A-levels. So with a nursing degree they require you to have a biology, and most of them say or advise that you do a psychology or a sociology or a chemistry alongside biology, but as long as you've got biology it doesn't really matter the other 2, as long as you've got those and they're at a certain grade. I think it's good to have in mind that you want to do A-levels that you enjoy doing as well as wanting to get on to university. So rather than picking 3 sciences and actually struggling with them loads, just pick biology and then pick another 2 that you really enjoy and know that you'll get a good grade out from. And then there's a BTEC route. So I actually did this one. I did Health and Social Care Level 3 at college. So this course was over 2 years. It's quite an intense course. It's all coursework based and you have a placement part at the end. We had, I'm pretty sure because it was about 5 years ago now, but we had 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 5 years ago I was at college. That's kind of mad. It was about 5 years ago now, so I'm trying to remember, but I'm pretty sure we had 2 essays every 2 weeks and they're about 7,000 words each, so it wasn't an easy option. A lot of people say like BTEC, oh that's an easy option. It isn't, it's just what's best suited for you. I know that I actually struggle quite a lot with exams, so I knew that writing essays and coursework was a way that I could get into university and know that I wouldn't have to stress too much because I was able to do that. So definitely consider, you know, what works best for you and what your strengths are, maybe exams or maybe coursework. I found that the course really prepared me, and the stuff that we did in the health and social care was actually really relevant and useful, and I used actually some of my essays to help me with the degree, especially in the first year. You kind of get that basic knowledge and understanding. So as I mentioned before, you have a placement in the BTEC Health and Social Care, which I found really beneficial. It was definitely the turning point where I was like, yes, I definitely want to do nursing. And yeah, so my placement was in the hospital, or it can be in any healthcare setting. I also did a placement in a nursery and I worked in a care home just to make double sure that I knew that's definitely what I wanted to do. And as part of the entry requirements for university, they do say that they would like some sort of relevant experience. That could be volunteering or it could be part of a placement in a healthcare setting, just so you have that kind of basic understanding of what is involved with the nursing role, and you kind of don't just go in thinking, yeah, I've watched 24 hours in A&E, I know what you do, when actually you kind of need that experience just to have an understanding, and it's useful for you as well. You don't feel so daunting when you're starting your placement at university and have never worked in a hospital before. Also for me, the placement really helped me to like solidify that I definitely wanted to be a nurse, and that was something I used in my interview. So when you have the interview with the university, they'll ask you why you want to be a nurse. So that's definitely a question that I would kind of think about if you're considering applying, because people will ask you that across the whole 3 years and probably forever throughout your career. So many people have asked me why I want to be a nurse, and it's a question that could be quite daunting because I mean, I don't know many other jobs that people constantly ask you why you wanted to go into it. But yeah, so if you've had that experience, you can kind of say, like for me, I knew that I worked on a ward, which was an elderly ward in the hospital whilst at college, and I just knew that I definitely wanted to do nursing, and that really kind of helped solidify the understanding of what was involved in the role, and I knew that I wanted to do it. And that was a good enough response to the question. Obviously you can have different response to the question, like some people had really interesting stories about how they were in hospital when they were younger, or maybe nurses have helped care for their parents or family members. It just is really personal and up to you, but having that relevant experience is really useful. So just to kind of round up all that information, because I've just been talking for quite a while, you need 4 GCSEs including English, Maths and Science at C grade, and you need A-levels or a BTEC. So with A-levels, they're pretty standard across all the universities, obviously depending on the different universities, but this is pretty much of a standard one. So they require a BCC in A-levels, and BTEC is distinction, merit and merit. So that equates to 104 UCAS points. But yeah, so you need 104 points of UCAS. So both the A-level and BTEC get turned into UCAS points, which is how the universities do their grading system in the UK. They just turn them into those points, and the BTEC is equivalent to A-level results. Yes, so the BTEC grades and A-level grades are both equivalent to each other, so they can both be turned into UCAS points and make it really easy to see what grade you need to apply. And the colleges will help you with that as well. I know that our tutors were really great at kind of making sure that you're on track to know what grade you needed in each different course or unit to kind of see exactly how to get into university and making sure that you definitely were able to. And part of the application process, as well as the grades and the experience, they want you to do a DBS, which is a disclosure barring service application form. It's basically just to look at your record, really, to make sure you've got no criminal record, you've had no kind of run-ins with the police. So the DBS is just to make sure that you don't have any criminal records, and the reason they ask you to do this is because you're going to be working with vulnerable people, so you can't be having a criminal record to work with vulnerable people. And then they also ask you to fill out a occupational health form. This is just to make sure you've had your jabs and vaccines and they're all up to date, but don't worry if you haven't. We had a course or a round of vaccinations when we started, so the university will help with that. And you can ask your local doctors for an updated form on your most recent and like your jabs from birth to kind of your age now. I think you might have to pay for that. I think it was like £5 just to get that information. I'm not sure why you have to pay, but you do. But your local doctor surgery should be able to give you that form so you can fill out the occupational health form. Right, so now we've talked about the entry requirements and all the things that you can do, we're going to move on to costs. So the cost of the degree is £9,250, which sounds terrifying, but you get a loan from the government and you have to pay that back in instalments once you reach a certain amount of money that you earn after you've qualified. So you don't kind of have to worry about that right now. That's just a loan that every student has as part of a degree. You have to pay that. So then as a student doing any degree, you get a student loan, and this can range from £4,000 to £10,000. It's just dependent on your parents' income. So every student will have a different student income and a student loan given to them. That happens 3 times a month. A month? I wish it did. It happens 3 times a year. So you get instalments of money. And again, you can use that to help pay rent or help with food when you're there. So there is now a bursary of £5,000 for health and social care students, which is lovely. They scrapped it about 4 years ago, so I unfortunately didn't have it in my first 2 years, but I'm now able to have it in my 3rd year, which is really nice and so helpful just to have a bit more money. Because it is a bursary, you don't have to pay that money back, so that's totally your money. It's yours to keep. You can spend it how you want. I wouldn't advise blowing it like on a night out. You probably want to be using it to save for rent or just to be able to help you if you can't get a job because you're on placement. So I also just wanted to quickly touch on the fact that different universities have different price accommodations. The rent is quite expensive, so I use my bursary to help cover that, and I also pick up some shifts, as I mentioned in the previous video. But if that's something to bear in mind if you're looking at universities and you're thinking about kind of where you want to study, have a look at the prices of renting in the area, and then that kind of helps you out. So that's everything. That's a lot of information that I've given you there. I really hope that has helped with entry requirements and kind of what's needed to get onto the nursing degree, and I will see you soon. Bye.